This video is audio content only. It does not contain any video footage or images. If you are expecting visual content, please be aware. This is intentionally provided in an audio-only format. We recommend listening to the audio rather than watching the screen. Thank you for your understanding. Welcome to a captivating journey into the heart of folklore. Tonight, we explore two fearsome yet fascinating figures. Krampus, the horned companion of St. Nicholas from the European Alps, and Japan's straw-clad Namahage. Discover how these monstrous entities, despite their terrifying appearances, serve as powerful cultural instructors, shaping behavior and reinforcing values across continents. Get ready to uncover the surprising lessons hidden within their ancient, chilling tales. Chapter 1: Monstrous Mentors, Fear's Universal Lesson. From the flickering shadows of ancient campfires to the glowing screens of our modern world, humanity has always been drawn to the dark. We are fascinated by monsters, by the things that go bump in the night, by the creatures that inhabit our deepest fears. But what if these terrifying figures, these ghoulish entities from folklore, aren't just for entertainment? What if they serve a profound, universal purpose in the very fabric of our societies, acting as cultural instructors, silent guardians, and even monstrous protectors? It's a question that has captivated many, including intrepid travelers like Chris Kullstrom, who embarked on a global journey specifically to encounter these legendary beings and understand the lessons they impart. Across continents and centuries, cultures have woven elaborate tales of fear-inducing figures, not merely to scare, but to teach. This isn't just a quaint tradition, it's a deeply ingrained human strategy to guide behavior, ensure safety, and reinforce moral values, especially among the young. Many of these seemingly horrific creatures, despite their formidable appearance and menacing reputations, ultimately function as instruments of moral instruction, often embodying the good cop, bad cop dynamic within a community's moral framework. They are the boogeymen, the specters, the cautionary tales brought to life, designed to keep children from harm and to instill a sense of obedience and diligence that benefits the entire community. Consider the diverse array of these figures around the world, each tailored to specific local dangers or societal needs. In the chilly landscapes of Sweden, the Näcken lurks by lakes, his haunting melodies a warning to young children to stay away from treacherous waters. Far to the south, in the sun-drenched forests of Belize, Tata Duende keeps children from wandering too deep into the wilderness. The Maltese Ilbiliha deters curious youngsters from playing too close to wells. From Italy's La Befana, who delivers gifts but also coal to naughty children, to Iceland's monstrous Grilla, who devours misbehaving kids, the spectrum is vast. Slavic folklore warns of the ancient witch Baba Yaga, while Hispanic cultures speak of La Llorona, the weeping woman, and Brazil has the crocodile monster Cuca. These are not just fanciful stories, they are practical, culturally embedded mechanisms to teach children about the world's real dangers, translating abstract threats into memorable, vivid warnings. This universal impulse to use imaginary, horrible creatures to teach offspring about the world's pitfalls is a striking aspect of human culture. It speaks to a fundamental understanding that sometimes a good scare can be a powerful motivator. These figures often act as extensions of parental authority, personifying the rules and expectations of the community. Instead of simply saying, "Don't go near the well," the tale of Ilbiliha provides a narrative, an image, a visceral reason for caution. It taps into a primal fear, but for a constructive end. But the role of these fear-inducing figures extends far beyond merely keeping children safe from physical harm or ensuring basic obedience. They also play a crucial part in shaping character, fostering responsibility, and reinforcing the social contract. Many traditions involve these figures admonishing laziness or bad behavior directly, often appearing seasonally to reinforce communal values. The very act of their visitation can become a public examination of household conduct, encouraging self-reflection and a renewed commitment to community values. Moreover, these rituals are rarely solitary affairs. They often involve the active participation of community members, including young men who don the masks and costumes. This participation serves as a form of social ritual and rite of passage, strengthening communal bonds and reaffirming collective identity. The paradox of these monstrous protectors is particularly compelling. Despite their terrifying appearance and the fear they inspire, these figures are often deeply revered. They are not simply evil. They are often seen as bringers of blessings, purifiers of homes, and wardens against misfortune. The fear they induce is not meant to traumatize, but to cleanse and to motivate. In many traditions, the fearsome visitation concludes with the figure offering encouragement, blessings for the coming year, or promises of good fortune if good behavior is maintained. This duality, the intimidating exterior, coupled with a benevolent ultimate purpose, is a common thread that runs through many such global traditions. The fear is a tool, a dramatic flourish, to ensure that the positive message of diligence, respect, and community responsibility truly resonates.
The enduring appeal of these figures in modern times is a testament to their deep cultural significance. Even as societies evolve and globalize, these traditions persist, often adapting to contemporary contexts while retaining their core meanings. This universal draw to the dark, to these figures who embody both terror and instruction, ultimately reveals a profound connection that transcends language and culture. It highlights how, through the ages, humanity has leveraged the power of narrative and performance to teach, protect, and unite, ensuring that the fundamental lessons of society are passed down from one generation to the next, even if those lessons come wrapped in a terrifying package. The ways in which different cultures have manifested this universal impulse are as varied and rich as human imagination itself. From the horned, fur-clad figures of Alpine Europe to the straw-garbed demons of Japan, each tradition tells a unique story of how communities have chosen to embody their moral codes and societal expectations. What happens when we delve into the specific histories and rituals of these distinct figures, and what further insights can we glean from their individual tales?
Chapter 2. Krampus, Alpine Demon, Ancient Roots. Stepping from the universal into the specific, we now journey to the snow-dusted peaks and valleys of Central and Eastern Alpine Europe, where a figure both terrifying and fascinating has roamed for centuries: Krampus. Imagine a creature straight out of a nightmare, a beast-like entity with imposing horns, shaggy fur, menacing cloven hooves, and a long red tongue that lolls out. This is Krampus, a name likely stemming from the Old High German word Krampe, meaning claw, or the Bavarian word Kramp, meaning withered or lifeless. He is the legendary companion to Saint Nicholas, and his story is a rich tapestry woven from ancient traditions, Christian influences, and a deep-seated cultural need to maintain order and good behavior. For many in Austria, Germany, Switzerland, Hungary, Croatia, Slovenia, Serbia, Ukraine, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Liechtenstein, Italy, France, Netherlands, Belgium, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, Krampus is not just a character in a story. He's a visceral living tradition. Often seen not as a single individual, but as a type of monster, allowing for many Krampuses to gather in one place. These figures embody the horned punisher. While St. Nicholas traditionally rewards well-behaved children with gifts, Krampus is there to ensure the naughty ones don't get off so easily. His methods are direct. He threatens to kidnap misbehaving children, carrying them off in a rustic straw basket, and punishes them by whipping them with birch switches, a horsetail, or a cowtail. This electrifying dynamic plays out on the evening of December 5th, known as Krampusnacht, or Krampus Night, a prelude to the feast of St. Nicholas on December 6th. During these festivities, it's common to see people donning elaborate, fearsome masks and participating in parades, embodying this ancient figure.
The precise origins of Krampus are shrouded in the mists of time, sparking debates among folklorists and historians. The figure of Krampus as we know him isn't clearly attested until the 16th century, though medieval devils, which Krampus strongly resembles, certainly borrowed elements from pagan gods. His clearer origins are found in medieval German art and drama, particularly the St. Nicholas plays of the 11th-12th centuries. However, the blending of older, more pagan elements with Christian traditions is undeniable in the St. Nicholas festival. Anthropological observations from places like Erdning in Styria, Austria, reveal that local communities are keenly aware of these heathen elements, believing Krampus to be derived from an ancient supernatural being that was eventually assimilated into the Christian devil. This assimilation wasn't arbitrary. It served a purpose within the evolving religious and social landscape. By the 17th century, Krampus found his definitive role as St. Nicholas's helper. It was deemed illogical and unsaintly for Nicholas, a figure of benevolence, to be the one delivering punishments. Thus, a darker counterpart was needed, and Krampus stepped into this role, much like other disciplinary figures found across Europe, such as farmhand Rupert, Schmutzli, Père Fouettard, or Zwarte Piet. The Church, in a pragmatic move, decided to accept the Krampus concept to show a contrast between good and evil. Specific imagery was created to link Krampus's appearance to the devil, showing him submissive to St. Nicholas, often appearing with chains around his wrists or ankles. He became the enforcer, allowing St. Nicholas to remain the pure dispenser of goodwill.
Tracing Krampus's lineage further back, we encounter figures like Frau Perchta, a winter Germanic goddess embodying both good and evil. She could appear as a kind woman, leaving silver coins for good children, or transform into a terrifying hairy demon. For naughty children, she would slice open their bellies, extract their innards, and replace them with hay, dirt, trash, or rocks. And her foul breath was said to cause blindness. Frau Perchta often traveled with Alpine spirits known as Perchten. Among these were the Schiach Percht, sinister half-goat, half-demon creatures that bear a striking resemblance to Krampus. These Perchten were central to ancient traditions where men in villages would wear masks and run from home to home in processions called Perchtenlauf, aiming to ward off evil and usher in good luck. The Church, however, viewed these wild masked runs with suspicion, outlawing Perchtenlauf around the 17th or 18th century. Yet, in the sparsely populated and rugged Alpine regions, these bans proved largely ineffective. Modern Perchtenlauf celebrations often occur between winter solstice and January 6th. Over time, these Perchtenlauf traditions, influenced by the burgeoning Nicholas plays, began to incorporate St. Nicholas, transforming the wild Percht into the more structured Krampus, now subservient to the saint's moral authority.
Krampus's physical appearance is designed to be utterly unforgettable. He is typically hairy, his body often dark brown or black, and he possesses one human foot and one cloven goat's hoof. His fangs gleam, and his exceptionally long, pointed tongue is a signature feature. Beyond his natural frightfulness, Krampus is often laden with symbolic tools. He carries chains, which are believed to symbolize the binding of the devil by the Christian Church. He thrashes these chains for dramatic effect, sometimes accompanied by bells of various sizes, creating an unsettling cacophony as he moves. His other primary implement is a bundle of birch branches, a whip, a horsetail, or a cowtail used to swat misbehaving children. In some Styrian traditions, these birch twigs, painted gold, are even displayed year-round in homes as a constant reminder for children to behave. For the truly incorrigible, Krampus carries a sack or a basket strapped to his back, threatening to cart off evil children for more severe fates, drowning, being eaten, or even transport to hell, a chilling detail echoed in older tales of other St. Nicholas companions.
Krampusnacht is the heart of the tradition. On the evening of December 5th, the wicked, hairy devil emerges onto the streets. Sometimes he accompanies St. Nicholas, sometimes he roams alone, visiting homes and businesses. St. Nicholas, often appearing in the Eastern Rite vestments of a bishop and carrying a golden ceremonial staff, focuses solely on the good children, dispensing small gifts like oranges, dried fruit, walnuts, and chocolate. Krampus, by contrast, is the one who delivers coal and the birch rods, a stark division of labor. In places like Bad Gastein, these house visits can be chaotic, with Krampuses knocking over furniture and wrestling with older members of the household to terrify the youngsters. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Nicholas would quiz children on their schoolwork during these visits, with Krampus acting as an unspoken threat in the background. Krampus also began appearing at Christmas markets in the 19th century. The Krampuslauf, or Krampus Run, is a spectacular modern manifestation of these ancient traditions. Hundreds of individuals dressed as Krampuses, with massive horns and hairy bodies, take to the streets, often lined with festive Christmas markets. Towns like Bad Goisern in Austria and Toblach in Italy are known for their large-scale Krampus runs. From the 17th to 20th centuries, Krampus also appeared in medieval folk plays, sometimes featuring quack doctor characters, and ending with Krampuses running wild through the audience, pretending to attack audience members. Unlike the more subdued Krampus of Bertram's childhood memories in Salzburg, who merely stood menacingly in the background, these are wild, untamed beasts, intent on scaring and playfully beating those who have specifically gathered to witness them. I remember standing on a packed sidewalk in Salzburg with Bertram, watching demon after demon rush towards us. After a few Krampuses wailed on the people around us but left us untouched, Bertram, with a mischievous grin, gave me a push. In a flash, a short whip thrashed my thigh, a sharp sting throbbing through my jeans. "Ouch!" I cried, playfully shoving him back. "Hey, you came here for this, didn't you?" he laughed. From then on, I made sure to bolt behind him, leaving him to bravely endure the full force of the Krampus onslaught. It's a testament to the cultural immersion that even a painful lash becomes part of the adventure.
Beyond the fright, the Krampuslauf also has its rituals. It's customary to offer a Krampus schnapps, a strong distilled fruit brandy, adding a convivial, albeit boisterous, element to the evening. However, these wild runs are not without their risks. Every year, arguments and even injuries occur. In 2013, after several Krampus runs in East Tyrol, Austria, a significant number of people required medical attention, highlighting the intense physical nature of these events. The Krampus tradition has faced its share of suppression. In the aftermath of the 1932 election, the Dollfuss regime in Austria, under the clerical fascist Fatherland Front, prohibited the Krampus tradition. Even in the 1950s, the Austrian government distributed pamphlets titled "Krampus is an Evil Man," expressing fears that encounters with Krampus might damage children's mental health. Yet, despite these attempts to extinguish it, the tradition experienced a popular resurgence towards the end of the 20th century, which continues vibrantly today. This revival has also taken root in Bavaria, where a local artistic tradition of hand-carved wooden masks keeps the spirit alive. As recently as 2000, the Library of Congress had not a single book about Krampus in English, highlighting his recent surge in popularity in the U.S.
Across the Alpine regions, Krampus manifests in various forms and under different names. In Styria, apart from the golden birch rods, smaller, more isolated villages might see him accompanied by other beastly companions, such as antlered wild man figures known as Schabmanner or Rowan, without St. Nicholas present at all. These figures bear a striking resemblance to the Kukeri dancers of Bulgaria. In urban centers like Salzburg, more toned-down, tourist-friendly interpretations often present a Krampus who is more humorous than fearsome. He is known by many names: Krampusage in Hungary, Kramper, Bartel, Niglabartel, Wubartel, Strobart, Klaubaufmann, Beryl, Bartholomeus, Popel, Hulapopel, Zember, Beltsmarte, and Pelzmartel in different parts of Austria and Bavaria. In German-speaking Switzerland, he is Schmutzli, while in Slovenia he is Parkel, a companion to Miklavs, their version of St. Nicholas. In parts of Bosnia and Herzegovina and Croatia, Krampus is described as a devil wearing a cloth sack and chains, leaving a silver branch to represent a child's bad acts, in contrast to a golden branch for good deeds. This rich tapestry of traditions, appearances, and names underscores Krampus's deep roots and enduring presence in European folklore. From ancient, possibly pagan origins to his role as St. Nicholas's disciplinary partner, Krampus continues to evolve, reflecting society's ongoing fascination with fear, morality, and the monstrous. But how do these distinct European traditions compare to similar figures in other cultures, far removed from the Alpine snows, who share a common purpose, yet manifest in strikingly different forms?
Chapter 3. Namahage, Japan's Benevolent Demons. Having traversed the snow-capped landscapes of the European Alps to uncover the chilling legacy of Krampus, our journey now takes us eastward, across vast oceans, to a land where winter also brings forth a formidable, fear-inducing figure. Imagine the serene, snow-covered villages of Akita Prefecture in northern Japan, particularly the Oga Peninsula, around the time of the New Year. Here, a unique and thrilling tradition unfolds, ushering in the new year with both reverence and a potent touch of terror. This is the realm of the Namahage, Japan's own demonic visitors, and their story is as rich and complex as the wintry landscapes they inhabit. The Namahage are not your typical holiday guests. Clad in straw garments and donning menacing ogre-like masks, these traditional Japanese demons, or oni, emerge from folklore to roam the villages. Their mission is clear: to admonish the lazy and the naughty, and to bestow blessings of health and prosperity upon the diligent and well-behaved. The Namahage serve as powerful enforcers of moral instruction, embodying societal expectations and ensuring that the community thrives through collective effort. Explain with examples, but do not use analogies that are not truthful. A Namahage visitation is a truly visceral experience. Men portraying these figures march in small groups, typically 2 or 3, from house to house, making their presence known with loud, booming voices and the clatter of their wooden implements. Sometimes a sakidachi, or vanguard, precedes the group, asking permission for their entry into a home. They carry large, fake deba knives, often made of wood or papier-mâché, which symbolize their power to scare away evil spirits. Some also wield a large wooden bucket, which they bang to create a cacophony that heightens the dramatic tension. For purification, an important part of the ritual, it's not uncommon to see a Namahage carrying a Shinto shaku, a long, thin wooden rod with paper streamers attached to one end, similar to those used by Shinto priests to purify spaces or persons. The visual impact of the Namahage is striking. Their masks are typically large, fearsome, and crafted with exaggerated, grotesque features: sharp teeth, wide, cruel eyes, and often horns protruding from the forehead. Historically, these masks were painted wood, or even wood bark, predominantly red. In more recent times, however, masks might be fashioned from cardboard, flattened metal canisters, or other recycled materials over a bamboo frame, showcasing a remarkable adaptability in their creation. In some areas, like the hamlet of Yumoto, Namahage even travel in pairs, one red-faced and the other blue-faced, adding another layer to their intimidating appearance. Their bodies are enveloped in long straw coats, known as mino in standard Japanese, or locally as kere or kende. These straw garments, along with woven straw slippers or snow boots called waragutsu, and shin guards known as habaki, are handmade anew each year.
This annual creation not only signifies the Namahage's divinity, but also symbolizes their arrival from another otherworldly place, adding to their mystique. Pieces of these straw garments that fall off during the procession are considered lucky, believed to have healing properties. But what exactly do these fearsome visitors say? As they stomp through the snow, they shout in the local dialect, demanding, "Are there any crybabies around? Nakuko wa ine ga." Or, "Are naughty kids around? Waruiko wa ine ka." These are not idle threats. They are direct challenges to the children within the homes. The Namahage will charge through the house, searching for misbehaving children, often finding them hiding in closets or under furniture, and playfully, yet terrifyingly, threaten to steal them away. Hikaru, a young man from northern Japan, vividly recounted his childhood experiences, describing how the Namahage would find him hiding and drag him out, growling warnings to stay on good behavior. Despite the genuine fright, Hikaru, like many who grew up with the tradition, looked back with a nostalgic smile, showing no signs of lasting trauma. The very name Namahage carries a profound cultural lesson. It is derived from an old refrain shouted by the figures, "Blisters peeled yet? Namimiko hageta kayo." Namimi refers to heat blisters, or hidako, a rash-like condition caused by prolonged exposure to fire from sitting idly by the irori hearth. In the harsh, cold winters of northern Japan, before modern heating systems, people would huddle by fires for warmth. Those who stayed in front of the fire for too long, doing nothing useful, would develop these blisters. Thus, the Namahage's question is a pointed way of asking, "Have you been lazy?" The large knives they carry, then, are symbolically used to peel off these blisters, a metaphor for cutting away indolence and sloth. Other traditional lines included, "Knife wetted yet?" and "Boiled adzuki beans done yet?" the latter referencing a customary gruel of adzuki beans eaten on the Little New Year. This etymology reveals the core purpose of the Namahage, to admonish idleness and promote diligence, values crucial for survival in a challenging agricultural environment. The ritual extends beyond children. Newly married couples are also playfully chastised for indolence, reminding them of their responsibilities to the household and community. When the Namahage enter a home, they perform a ceremonial stomping, 7 times before entering, 5 times before being served food and sake, and 3 times before leaving. These specific numbers are considered lucky. Families, in turn, welcome their monstrous guests by offering traditional foods, sake, and mochi, rice cakes. Parents will earnestly vouch for their children, reassuring the Namahage that they will be diligent and well-behaved in the coming year. In a fascinating reversal of roles observed in modern times, while the Namahage traditionally received mochi from households, during the Namahage Seto festival, they actually distribute mochi to visitors, symbolizing the blessings they bring. Importantly, the Namahage do not visit houses that have experienced a birth or death in the past year, or where there is a sick person, adhering to Shinto concepts of purity and defilement. The origins of the Namahage are shrouded in multiple fascinating theories, reflecting the rich oral tradition of the Oga Peninsula. One popular legend attributes their arrival to Emperor Wu of Han, who, over 2 millennia ago, supposedly brought 5 demonic ogres or bats to Oga. These oni established quarters in the local high peaks and terrorized the villages, stealing crops and young women. The villagers, desperate, challenged the demons. If they could build a flight of 1,000 stone steps from the village to the shrine halls, or from the seashore to Mount Shinzan's peak in a single night, the villagers would supply them with a young woman annually. The greedy oni accepted, and with dawn approaching, they were just about to lay the 1,000th step when a quick-witted villager mimicked the sound of a rooster crowing. Fooled into believing they had failed, the enraged demons uprooted a cryptomeria tree in their anger, flinging it to the Goshado shrine grounds where it landed roots up before departing. The 999 unfinished steps can still be seen today at Goshado Shrine. However, the legend concludes with the Namahage returning every new year for the children instead.
Other theories offer more grounded, yet equally intriguing explanations. One suggests that the Namahage were actually shipwrecked foreigners, perhaps Russian sailors, whose strange appearance, red hair, seaweed-laden clothes, and incomprehensible language led locals to perceive them as Oni. Their acts of stealing might have been desperate attempts to communicate or acquire necessities, misinterpreted as demonic malice. Another theory links the Namahage to Yamabushi, mountain ascetics who trained rigorously in the mountains of Hanzan and Shinzan. Their fearsome appearance, hardened by their ascetic practices, may have inspired the local villagers to adopt their likeness for the Namahage. Because some of these visitors were warriors, their violent training further inspired the adoption of their likeness for the Namahage. A related idea posits them as messengers of the mountain kami, or deities, as the Oga Peninsula itself, rising dramatically from the sea, was revered as a dwelling place for protective mountain spirits. These diverse origin stories highlight the interplay of historical events, natural environment, and spiritual beliefs in shaping folklore.
Beyond their individual visitations, the Namahage play a crucial role in the social fabric of the community. Historically, the men who donned the masks were typically the young, unmarried men of the villages. This participation served as a significant rite of passage, allowing them to temporarily step outside conventional social hierarchies. For a brief period, disguised as these fearsome entities, they could deliver admonishments, even to their elders, that would otherwise be unthinkable. This raucous release of tension during the long, dark winter months not only reinforced community standards, but also strengthened communal bonds. The tradition emphasizes collective responsibility, mutual cooperation, and a renewed commitment to the community's well-being, especially vital in a region known for its harsh climate and isolation.
The Namahage tradition, originally a custom where youngsters impersonated kami, specifically Toshigami, or visiting deities of the new year, has evolved significantly over time. While it traditionally took place on the Little New Year, the 15th day of the first lunar month, usually in mid-February, it shifted to New Year's Eve of the Gregorian calendar, as Japan modernized. This adaptability has been key to its survival. In 1978, Oga's Namahage was designated an important, intangible folk cultural property by the Japanese government, and in 2018, it received global recognition by being added to UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. This designation has brought attention and ensured its continued existence, even as some local associations struggle with a decrease in young participants and a changing lifestyle that sometimes makes house visits less welcome. According to Oga City, nearly half of the town associations didn't hold festivals in 2011, prompting the establishment of a subsidy system the following year. Nevertheless, only 6 local associations had revived Namahage by the end of that year, highlighting the ongoing challenges. The tradition has also shown remarkable adaptability in recent times. For example, in the Kobukata area during the COVID-19 pandemic, actors did not enter houses, nor partake in the alcohol or dishes traditionally served as hospitality. Today, the Namahage are ubiquitous in Akita, appearing on statues, snacks, and even in marketing for major brands like Starbucks. To experience the tradition firsthand, visitors can attend the Namahage Seto Festival, held annually on the second weekend of February at Shinzan Shrine in Oga City. This festival is a spectacular fusion of the folk Namahage tradition and a Shinto festival, featuring sacred dances, dynamic drumming, and a dramatic climax where 15 torch-bearing Namahage descend from the mountain, their flames illuminating the snowy landscape.
It's a major tourist attraction, drawing hundreds of visitors, like the traveler who found themselves smiling through frozen faces, thawed by the enthusiasm of their host, Hikaru, as they watched dozens of these cultural demons dance around a bonfire in the single-digit temperatures. For those unable to visit during the festival, the Namahage Museum and the adjacent Oga Shinzan Folklore Museum offer year-round insight. Here, you can explore a vast collection of masks and costumes from over 60 districts, watch documentaries explaining the tradition, and even try on an authentic Namahage outfit yourself. These museums provide a crucial space for preserving and interpreting the tradition, showcasing its history, variations, and cultural significance. The Oga Shinzan Folklore Museum even features live reenactments of a typical Namahage home visit, allowing visitors to witness the theatrical scolding, the parental reassurances, and the offerings of sake and mochi, providing a deeper appreciation for this living heritage.
While the Namahage of Oga has become the most recognized, similar ogre traditions, or marebito, visitors from the afterworld, exist across Japan under different names. These include the Yamahage in Akita, Nagomehage in Noshiro, Amahage in Yamagata, Amehage in Ishikawa, Aposha in Fukui, Tsuneka in Iwate, Amabura Kosagi in Ehime, Toshidan in Kagoshima, and the secretive Akamata Kuramata of the Yaeyama Islands in Okinawa. Each of these regional variants, though distinct, shares the core purpose of ushering in good fortune and admonishing misbehavior, often around the New Year. The popular Setsubun bean-throwing festival held across Japan in February, where people throw roasted soybeans to ward off oni and invite good luck, also draws inspiration from these ancient demon-dispelling legends. Their loud voices and noisy actions are believed to chase away bad luck and evil spirits, prompting villagers to reflect on the past year and welcome the new one with renewed commitment. But how do these distinct Japanese traditions, steeped in Shinto beliefs and unique folklore, truly compare to the Germanic Alpine traditions of Krampus? And what do their shared purposes and divergent forms tell us about the human experience across cultures? Chapter 4. Fear's Dual Faces. Krampus and Namahage Compared. Having journeyed through the frosty Alpine passes to encounter Krampus and navigated the snowy Oga Peninsula to meet the Namahage, an extraordinary truth emerges. Despite being separated by thousands of miles, distinct languages, and vastly different cultural histories, these two fearsome figures share a striking common ground. They are both powerful instruments of moral instruction and social cohesion. Yet, the ways in which they execute this shared purpose, their disciplinary tactics, and their very forms are as unique and captivating as the cultures that birthed them. Both Krampus and Namahage embody the ultimate good cop, bad cop routine, designed to ensure children behave, be diligent, and respect the unspoken rules of their society. In the Alpine regions, Krampus is the menacing counterpoint to the benevolent St. Nicholas, arriving on Krampusnacht to punish the naughty, leaving birch rods or threatening to carry them off in his basket. Across the globe in Akita, the Namahage stomped through homes on New Year's Eve, booming questions like, "Are there any crybabies here?" and threatening to whisk away idle youngsters to the mountains. The intent is identical, to instill a healthy fear that translates into desired behavior, preventing misdeeds and fostering a sense of responsibility. This shared purpose is particularly poignant when we consider their timing. Both Krampus and Namahage emerge during the long, dark, and often brutally cold winter months. For agrarian societies, winter was a period of scarcity and hardship, demanding collective effort, discipline, and mutual support for survival. Laziness, insubordination, or selfishness could jeopardize the entire community. The Namahage's very name, derived from Namaomi ko Hagataka yo,
Or, "Have your blisters peeled yet?" directly addresses the problem of indolence, a pointed question about the heat blisters formed from sitting idly by the fire, a direct admonishment against laziness when everyone's contribution was crucial. While Krampus's birch switches are a more general symbol of punishment, they too speak to a need for discipline during a time when vigilance and good conduct were paramount. However, while their underlying mission aligns, their physical forms and the tools they wield offer a fascinating study in cultural divergence. Krampus is undeniably beast-like, with imposing horns, shaggy fur, cloven hooves, and a long, lolling tongue. He often drags chains, believed to symbolize the binding of the devil by the Christian Church, and wields birch switches or whips for physical chastisement. His appearance is evocative of ancient European forest spirits or satyrs, later assimilated into Christian devil imagery, embodying a raw, primal aggression particularly evident during the wild Krampuslau parades. For the truly incorrigible, he carries a basket or sack for carrying them off.
The Namahage, by contrast, present a distinctly Japanese aesthetic. While often described as oni, or ogres, they are more precisely visiting deities, or kami. They are clad in elaborate straw garments, called mino, or kete, which, along with their straw boots and shin guards, suggest their descent from the snowy mountains. Their faces are dominated by fearsome, hand-carved wooden masks, often red or blue, with exaggerated features like sharp teeth and wide, cruel eyes. These masks vary significantly from village to village, showcasing local artistry and interpretation. Instead of chains and whips, the Namahage carry large fake deba knives, symbolically peeling away the blisters of laziness, and wooden pails that they bang for dramatic effect. Some also carry a Shinto shaku, a purification wand, underscoring their sacred cleansing role. The dynamics of their interactions with the community also reveal fascinating differences. Krampus often operates as the dark shadow of St. Nicholas. In many traditions, he appears with the saint, creating a direct visual contrast between reward and punishment. Bertram's childhood memory of Krampus standing menacingly in the background while St. Nicholas distributed candy perfectly illustrates this dualistic presentation. The presence of St. Nicholas often tempers Krampus's ferocity, providing a clear moral framework for his actions. When Krampus appears alone, particularly in modern Krampuslauf events, the interaction can be more chaotic and physically intense, with participants actively engaging in playful yet sometimes painful thrashings.
The Namahage, however, do not have a benevolent human or divine companion in the same way. They operate as a self-contained unit, typically in groups of 2 or 3, sometimes preceded by a sakidachi or vanguard who asks permission for their entry. The interaction is less about a good versus evil pairing and more about a direct confrontation and negotiation with the household. Upon entering, the Namahage engage in ceremonial stomping, 7 times at the entrance, 5 before accepting offerings, 3 before leaving, a ritualistic purification. The core of their visit is a dramatic interrogation, a search for misbehaving children and lazy adults, particularly newly married wives. They boom questions like, "Knife wetted yet?" and "Boiled adzuki beans done yet?" And some even carry a naughty or nice book where they note down parents' suggestions. Parents then step in, not to be rescued by a benevolent saint, but to vouch for their children, offering food and sake to appease the monstrous visitors and assure them of future diligence. Hikaru's experience of his parents offering food and sake to beg the Namahage to let him go highlights this direct inter-family negotiation. This dialogue, often humorous for adults, serves to reaffirm family and community commitments.
Explain with examples, but do not use analogies that are not truthful. The legends surrounding their origins also paint divergent pictures, reflecting the distinct historical and spiritual landscapes of their regions.
Krampus's roots are often traced to pre-Christian pagan figures like Frau Perfte and the wild Perchtenlauf processions, which were later absorbed and adapted by the Christian Church. His image became intertwined with the Christian devil, providing a striking contrast to the saintly Nicholas. This assimilation allowed older traditions to persist, albeit in a modified form, under the new religious paradigm. The Namahage's origins are more varied and deeply rooted in local Japanese folklore and Shinto beliefs. Theories range from ancient agricultural rituals and the veneration of mountain kami to the dramatic legend of Emperor Wu of Han's demonic ogres, or the intriguing possibility of shipwrecked foreigners whose strange appearance led locals to perceive them as terrifying oni. These diverse origin stories highlight a strong connection to the natural environment, local deities, and the occasional encounter with the other, all filtered through a lens of community protection and moral reinforcement. Explain with examples, but do not use analogies that are not truthful. Despite the terror they inspire in children, both figures are ultimately seen as benevolent. Krampus, though a punisher, helps St. Nicholas maintain order, ensuring a more harmonious community. The Namahage, despite their loud threats and dramatic searches, are bringers of blessings, warding off evil spirits and praying for good harvests and health for the coming year. Their fear-inducing tactics are a means to an end, to cleanse, purify, and motivate. This duality, the fearsome exterior coupled with an ultimately positive purpose, is a powerful testament to the nuanced way cultures use myth to shape reality. Both traditions have shown remarkable resilience, adapting to modern times and even gaining global pop culture recognition, a phenomenon explored further in Chapter 5. Ultimately, the comparison between Krampus and Namahage reveals a universal human desire to leverage the power of fear and spectacle for constructive ends. They are cultural mirrors, reflecting the specific anxieties, values, and environmental challenges of their societies. Krampus, with his demonic form and direct punishments, speaks to a European history intertwined with Christian notions of sin and redemption and the wildness of ancient pagan spirits. Namahage, with his straw attire and focus on diligence, embodies Japanese agricultural imperatives, Shinto beliefs in visiting deities, and a communal emphasis on hard work and harmony. They are both guardians of tradition, ensuring that the lessons of the past are not forgotten, but dramatically reenacted for each new generation. But what happens when these deeply rooted folklore figures transcend their local origins and enter the global stage of pop culture, becoming something new entirely? Chapter 5. Monsters Remade. Folklore's Pop Culture Journey. We've traversed the ancient paths of fear, explored the horned shadow of Krampus in the Alps, and encountered the straw-clad fury of Namahage in Japan. We've seen how these monstrous figures, despite their terrifying visages, serve as profound cultural instructors, shaping behavior and reinforcing community values. But what happens when these deeply rooted folklore figures, once confined to local villages and whispered tales, break free from their traditional shackles and burst onto the global stage of pop culture? How do these mythical monsters, born of ancient anxieties and seasonal rituals, adapt to a modern world saturated with media? And what does their enduring appeal tell us about ourselves? The journey from local legend to global phenomenon is a fascinating testament to the power of archetypal storytelling. These creatures, once primarily agents of moral instruction and communal cohesion, now find new life in films, television, video games, literature, and merchandise, captivating audiences far beyond their original cultural boundaries. Their terrifying forms, once meant to instill a very specific kind of fear, are now often reimagined, reinterpreted, and even, at times, softened for mass consumption. Take Krampus, for instance, whose rise to prominence in the United States over the past decade or so has been nothing short of meteoric. Once a niche figure known primarily to enthusiasts of esoteric folklore, he has now become a beloved, if still menacing, part of the broader holiday landscape, much like Dr. Seuss's Grinch. Walk into many stores during the winter season, and you might find Krampus ornaments hanging alongside traditional Christmas baubles, or decks of playing cards featuring vintage images of the horned demon. His image is everywhere, a testament to his burgeoning popularity. The transformation is so complete that well-attended Krampus parties, like the one hosted by Morbid Anatomy in New York City in 2016, complete with a Krampus queen judging costume contests, are now a vibrant part of the American holiday experience.
This modern adaptation of Krampus isn't just about merchandise, it's a full-fledged media takeover. His character has been imported and modified for various North American media platforms, illustrating the hunger for fresh, darker narratives. In print, Monte Beauchamp's 2004 collection of vintage postcards, Krampus, the Devil of Christmas, introduced many to his historical imagery, while Gerald Brahms' 2012 novel, Krampus, the Yule Lord, offered a new literary interpretation. The popular claim of Krampus being the son of the Norse god Hel, for instance, a narrative often encountered in modern media, is likely a recent invention, popularized by fictional works like Brahms' novel, rather than traditional folklore. This illustrates how pop culture can not only adapt, but also create new origin myths that become widely accepted. Krampus even starred in his own comic book series from Image Comics in 2013. On television, Krampus has made memorable appearances in animated shows like The Venture Bros, A Very Venture Christmas, 2004, and American Dad, Minstrel Krampus, 2013, as well as live-action sitcoms like The League, A Krampus Carol, 2012. Video games haven't been immune to his charm, with appearances in titles like Carnival from 1998 and The Binding of Isaac Rebirth in 2014. And, of course, the big screen has embraced him, most notably with the 2015 Krampus film, a Christmas comedy horror which perfectly illustrates this softening for comedic or horror genre appeal, and a forthcoming 2024 Christmas action-adventure comedy film, Red One. Beyond entertainment, Krampus has inspired a range of seasonal consumer products, themed merchandise, and even Krampus-themed alcoholic beverages, explicitly referencing the folklore figure with herbal liqueurs. This widespread integration demonstrates how a regional demon has been successfully rebranded for a global audience, often with his sharp edges softened for comedic or horror genre appeal. What's particularly fascinating is that this isn't Krampus's first brush with broader cultural dissemination. Europeans were exchanging greeting cards featuring Krampus, known as Krampuskarten, as early as the 19th century. These cards, often bearing the playful greeting Gruß vom Krampus, greetings from Krampus, typically featured humorous rhymes and poems. They depicted Krampus menacingly looming over children, or sometimes, in older versions, pursuing buxom women, showcasing a surprisingly sexual undertone. While often depicting Krampus pursuing buxom women, some cards also showed Krampus as a woman wooing or seducing men. Early portrayals were not always accurate representations of local traditions, sometimes reflecting urban artists' limited exposure, and occasionally even carried racist connotations, highlighting the diverse and sometimes problematic ways his image was adapted for early mass media. Over time, the representation of Krampus on these cards shifted, with older versions portraying a more genuinely frightening figure, while modern iterations sometimes presented a cuter, almost Cupid-like creature. These Krampuskarten, along with Krampus-adorned postcards and candy containers, were an early form of mass media, helping to spread his image far beyond the Alpine villages and setting a precedent for his current pop culture explosion. Japan's Namahage, while maintaining a more localized but still substantial presence, has also undergone significant modern adaptations to ensure its enduring appeal. The very survival of the Namahage tradition is a testament to its flexibility and capacity for change.
The participation of individuals like American teacher Scott Cameo, deeply moved by local preservation efforts, further underscores the global appreciation for these traditions. Today, the Namahage are ubiquitous in Akita Prefecture, serving as a powerful symbol of regional identity. You'll find their fearsome visages on statues, adorning local snacks, and even integrated into marketing campaigns for major brands like Starbucks. This commercialization, while perhaps a departure from its original ritualistic context, ensures its visibility and economic viability. In a modern, relatable comparison, the Namahage are sometimes referred to as Japan's Santa Claus, much like Krampus's association with the Grinch. For instance, the tradition is less intense in urban areas and adapts for safety, with no real scares for toddlers, a softening similar to how Krampus's sharp edges softened for broader appeal.
The Namahage's influence has also permeated various forms of modern entertainment and media within Japan and beyond. They appear in fiction, sometimes as literal creatures, other times as costumed beings inhabited by something non-human, with portrayals ranging from violent enforcers to gruff but well-meaning guardians. The Japanese heavy metal band Ningen Isu even has a song titled Namahage, showcasing its presence in music. And in a truly global reach, the familiar ogre emoji, ogre, is actually based on the Japanese Namahage, a subtle but widespread example of its integration into digital pop culture. Even themed restaurants, like one in Tokyo's Roppongi district, recreate the Namahage experience, allowing urban dwellers to encounter these demons in a curated, entertaining setting.
The enduring appeal of these mythical monsters, whether Krampus or Namahage, lies in their ability to tap into universal human emotions and experiences. They offer a safe way to engage with fear, to confront the unknown, and to explore the darker aspects of human nature and societal expectations without real danger. As observed by writer Chris Kolstrom in her Scare Tourism explorations, these cultural monsters have much to teach. The nostalgic bonds that people like Bertram in Salzburg and Hikaru in Oga feel towards these traditions, eagerly revisiting them and sharing them with new friends, highlight how deeply these figures are woven into personal and collective identities. Even as they transition into pop culture, these monstrous figures carry echoes of their original purpose: to instruct, to bond, and to reflect on communal values. A Krampus film, example, might instruct by humorously exaggerating the consequences of naughtiness, while a Namahage-themed snack fosters bonding through shared cultural identity and regional pride, allowing people to literally consume a piece of their heritage.
This phenomenon isn't unique to Krampus and Namahage. Across the globe, countless other fear-inducing figures from folklore also find their way into modern media, reflecting a universal human fascination with the monstrous. The Slavic witch Baba Yaga, the weeping woman La Llorona from Hispanic folklore, the Brazilian crocodile monster Cuca, the Swedish Nakin who lures children to watery depths, or the Belizean Tata Duende who keeps children from wandering into forests, all these figures, initially conceived as monstrous protectors or cautionary tales, possess an inherent dramatic appeal ripe for modern adaptation. They provide rich source material for horror, fantasy, and even comedic reinterpretations, transcending their local origins to become part of a global tapestry of storytelling. The shift from purely local, ritualistic fear to broader, often commercialized entertainment raises intriguing questions. While modern adaptations might sometimes simplify or even dilute the original cultural and moral complexities of these figures, they also introduce them to new generations and diverse audiences, ensuring their stories continue to be told.
The appeal of a Krampus film or a Namahage-themed snack isn't just about superficial entertainment, it's about a deep-seated human connection to narratives that explore the boundaries of good and evil, obedience and rebellion, and the primal forces that shape our world.
Ultimately, the journey of mythical monsters from folklore to pop culture is a dynamic, ongoing dialogue between tradition and modernity. It demonstrates humanity's remarkable capacity to reinvent and recontextualize its deepest cultural expressions, ensuring that these monstrous figures continue to evolve, to scare, to teach, and to fascinate, carrying the wisdom of the past into the digital age. What new forms will these ancient guardians take, and how will they continue to shape our understanding of fear, morality, and community in an ever-changing global landscape?
From the snow-dusted Alps to Akita's wintry villages, Krampus and Namahage reveal a profound truth. Fear, when wielded by monstrous mentors, can be a powerful instructor. These figures, though terrifying, ultimately teach diligence, respect, and the vital lessons of community. Their distinct forms, beast-like Punisher or straw-clad deity, reflect unique cultural anxieties, yet their purpose is universal: to shape behavior and ensure social cohesion. Their enduring journey from local folklore to global pop culture highlights humanity's timeless fascination with the dark, not just for entertainment, but for profound, guiding wisdom. As these ancient guardians continue to evolve, they challenge us to consider, what essential truths do our modern monsters still impart? Thank you for listening.